Madhouse Podcasting Network.
Okay.
Of course, I woke up the baby opening the door, so I just delayed that.
Oh, nice job, dude. Good game. Nice, Dad.
Been there.
Yep.
I'm always the one waking up the kids, man.
Yeah, can't win.
Yeah.
All right, let's do this. I'll do the quick introductions, and then we'll roll right into it. I can't even talk now. So, what's up, everybody? Thanks for joining us on another episode of Behind the Mask. I'm your co-host, Scott, and the main man in charge is Jeremy, and today we're talking with Jon and hopefully his wife, Ashley, from Higbee Horror Haunt.
What's up?
We're going to get involved and a little bit in depth on what he's got going out there in Central California. So, Jon, been a long time. Good to see you. How's everything going?
Definitely. Really good to see you guys.
Thank you for joining us, man. It's we're really excited about hearing the history and everything. So,
thank you for having me be part of the show.
Of course, dude. Once Jeremy says, "Oh, dude, let's do a podcast," I'm like, "Okay." "Okay, so we got to get Jon," and we have a list of about probably 40 people.
That's awesome.
You guys are definitely on the first 10, the top 10.
Yeah. And it's funny because you say the top 10, like a lot of the stuff that we want to start off with is his and I's history.
Mm-hmm.
As, meeting each other, going through the haunt industry, and then our individual paths.
Yeah.
So, as a matter of fact, you are the second actual guest.
Cool.
The second recorded guest,
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. It's crazy, right? So, let's just get into it, dude. I mean, I know you've been doing Higbee for a while now, but you and I have never really sat down and talked about like when it started and why it started. So let's just start from there. And, what was the first year you actually said, "Hey, I want to pull the trigger and put together my own haunt"?
So the way it all went down was I've been attending the haunt events down south since 2007. So that's when the first year I did Knott's and I did Universal all on the same weekend. And so right away I was hooked after that. Like it was like, oh dude, we're doing this every year. So, we attended those events, we fell in love with them, and then growing up I've always wanted to kind of be like an Imagineer for Disney. So I've always had that passion of building and creating attractions for people to come and enjoy. So that's always kind of been my goal. And then the more I started getting involved in the haunt industry and the love for it, then in 2010 is when we moved into a new house, and there was just this perfect like backyard where it was like plenty of room going all the way around the house. And so then it was like, man, it would be so cool to do a walkthrough like through the whole backyard. And
so you started in your backyard?
Yes, we started out as a home haunt.
I did not know that.
Nice.
Oh yeah, we still get people to this day that come visit us, and they're like, are you guys ever going to go back to the house? Like, it was so cool at the house. It's like, unfortunately we're at the pro level now, so we kind of want to stay there and backtrack. But
you're like, no, I got a building, bro.
Right? So we started out in the backyard, and literally it was like 9 days until Halloween, and my dad was like, "Yeah, I guess you can do it." So we're like, "Oh shit!" It's like, "All right, let's see what we can do." So we did normal home haunt. It was tarps as dividers, black plastic. We just threw around random like dollar store props and stuff, some costumes that we had, and so we ran for Halloween night. It was free for people to come through. And we all just had such a blast. That was our first time doing a home haunt and scaring people. So we caught that high immediately, and it was like we're definitely doing this next year.
So how many of you was it like that ran that haunt and actually scared it?
There was probably about 12 to 15 of us.
Wow. Plus your dad.
Yeah, and we had about 10. Yeah, about 10 different sections, separate.
For a backyard haunt built 9 days before Halloween, and you had 10 different sections with 12 to 15. Wow. Oh my god!
Oh yeah, no, we worked very fast,
dude. The fact that you did all that and you had 12 to 15 people, they're like, yeah, dude, we're gonna do this. Let's have fun.
Yeah, that was when it was like me and all my friends, and we literally were like, we each kind of came up with some ideas for rooms, and each person would just come over and work on their room. So it was a full group effort. Like literally every room was created by each of the scares that were in the room.
Dude,
oh, that's cool.
That's
it was super cool. So that's when we all had that passion going into it, you know. So then coming up to the following years, we were doing the same thing. So more people were like, oh, well, I want to do, you know, Halloween Michael Myers. So he like decked out his whole room for Halloween and stuff. And so it was cool. It was fun to see multiple people have that passion of wanting to create their rooms and stuff and be a part of it. And that was something I really enjoyed because, you know, you get together with multiple people like that.
Yeah.
And it's just all the creative juices start flowing and you all just get really hyped up about it. So yeah, that kind of led off from there. And then in 2013, maybe it was 2012, we were in talks with a place about moving the haunt there already. So just after 2 years of it in the backyard, we were already talking to somebody about doing something on a professional level.
Wow.
And basically things just started, we were finding out more and more stuff about the fire department and issues going on there. And so we literally purchased all the plywood. We were literally set up to go. And then it was like maybe 2 months before October, they're like, oh no, we're not going to do it.
What?
So it was like we had all this money invested. And it was crazy. And so finally we're just like, you know what? We spent all this money on the wood and stuff. We're just going to put all this in the backyard. So that's when we moved to wooden structured walls throughout the whole backyard.
Okay.
And it was still about 10. Okay. Yeah. So then that was about 10 to 11 sections in there that were all walls at this point. So that was pretty crazy.
How many square feet was it?
Oh gosh, it was probably about 800 to 900 square feet.
Oh, okay,
maybe 1,200, somewhere in there.
That's a pretty.
It was quite. I mean, each room was roughly about 10 by 12.
Oh, okay.
That's
so in
big.
there, so
you know, for a backyard haunt.
And at that point,
yeah, and it was. It was hilarious because I remember.
Hey. Hi guys, sorry. I was putting the baby down.
Motherhood.
It was so funny because I was in about the third room, I believe, and to hear these people come, because in the back, especially at a home haunt, you don't know what to expect. You know, especially size-wise, and ours was huge.
Right.
So we get people in about the third room, and their kids are starting to cry, and the parents are like, "Oh, don't worry, it's almost over." And I'm just laughing because I'm like, "There's still like 8 rooms left," and it's like they're in room 3 flipping out. So, well, you can even ask her. She went through the same thing because she went through the home haunt in the backyard. And what you got to do about like the 4th room, and you're already freaking out.
Well, my best friend bailed in the 2nd room. She couldn't hang. She ditched me, and then. By the 3rd or 4th room, I was like having panic attacks. And then I got to his room and I was full on sobbing because this was my first haunt experience. Wow. And then by the end of it, I thought we were going to have to call an ambulance because I was hyperventilating.
So this is before you guys actually met, right?
We had been on a couple of dates.
We've been on a few dates before that.
And then he told me that if I really liked him, I needed to go through his haunt to prove that I was going to stick around. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And
John, that's shitty.
He knew I was terrified of clowns. He knew I was terrified of clowns, and the whole end of his maze was a clown chasing you out with a chainsaw. Nice. And he never said anything. Yeah. And
wow.
That's how you hook a girl.
Right. So, hey, and we're talking like
she even got a day walkthrough You know, got to see everything before.
2 different things, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Daytime and nighttime with people in it. 2 different things.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
We used to do walkthroughs at Knott's. We would go through the mazes during the day, and it's completely different. But then you walk through that same maze at night with no music and nobody in it. It is fucking creepy.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it is fucking creepy.
That's me every time I walk in the building now.
Yeah.
All the
in my
lights
early
are off
days
and I
of
go to
Haunt,
do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
when I was still part of the hanging casts, when we got brought in early for rehearsals, they didn't need us, so we got to cruise around the park. We go through all the mazes, right? Nobody's in there, so it's already creepy. And then all of a sudden, we go through as a group, and all of a sudden, people are starting to split off. We're trying to corner the others and try to scare the shit out of them because we're those kind of bastards.
Oh yeah.
So sorry, that was totally off topic.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that happens with us anytime we do, like, orientation. All of our veterans and stuff, when we go to take, like, the new people through, they start running around and disappearing and hide and try to jump out and scare the people.
Okay, so
gotta break them in.
So in you said it was 2010. You were supposed to move into a building, and then you ended up staying in your backyard.
2012.
In
Was it
2012.
Okay,
2010 is when we started. That was our very first year in the backyard.
There you go.
And so then we stuck with the wood walls, and we were doing that for 2 more years. And then coming up to our 5th year is when we had the guy that runs a Halloween store in town, a locally owned one. He started talking to us about how he had plans to basically, because before he always just ran party stores, and then you'd have sections that were Halloween.
Okay.
And so this time around, he wanted to just open up like a big Halloween store. And so then we were talking to him, and he wanted, a haunt, like a professional haunt put in, just to give people more things to do and attract more people. And so that's how that all started. And pretty sure we found out in July that we were in the building. So
he approached us in July.
He
approached us in July, and we didn't finalize until
August. I think
like the mid of it was like probably like the 10th of August, and then it was like, oh, we want to do this like second weekend of October, so you need to be open.
So wait,
and we were like,
2014, you said?
This was.
Yeah.
This 2010 was our first. Yeah. So.
Okay. 2014. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. 2014. And he wanted not only the one side, but he also wanted a kid-friendly maze during the day. So
that's right.
Not only did we have to transfer our haunt from his backyard to the building at this point, which we basically lived there. We slaved over day and night.
Yeah. And we had to build a dividing wall.
And we had to create a dividing wall so it separated the store from the haunt. Plus, on the other side of this 30,000 square foot building, we had to build a smaller 4-room haunt that we had cosplay characters in that were like kid-friendly characters.
Yeah, and the kids would trick or treat through there and go see the cosplay characters.
So we had, on Saturdays and Sundays, we had like a 4-hour time frame where we did daytime kid-friendly trick-or-treating with friendly characters who didn't jump out and scare them. Right. They just walked through the maze and got to meet their characters and trick-or-treat. Right. So we manned our haunt and that on 2 completely opposite sides of the building the whole season in 2014.
Okay,
yeah,
so...
we still had to build the haunt.
Yeah. Okay, so basically, Ashley, what you're saying is he forced you to go through his maze to prove that you liked him, and then you stayed, and he roped you into now running a pro haunt with him.
Oh, no. It was like, if you want our relationship to work, then you're going to have to come to the haunt with me while I build. Otherwise, I don't have time for you.
And it wasn't.
Let's just say.
I'm sure it's implied because I was going to be No.
I could probably pull up text messages from 2014 from when we started dating because he ghosted my ass, and I was like, all right, dude, we had, like, really great dates. Like, what the hell happened? Did I do something wrong? Like,
it was August.
And he was like, oh, no, it's haunt season. I ghost everybody. I don't even talk to my family. And he's like, so if you want to be with me, you have to get used to that.
So, Jeremy, what she's saying is we're fucking lucky that they're on this podcast right now.
Right. That's all I'm thinking. I'm like, wow. I feel great.
I'm like, wow, dude, we must be.
He should just be grateful that I stuck it out this long.
Yeah.
That's why I married. That's why I married her. It takes a special kind of woman to put up with this shit.
It definitely does.
I would agree with that.
Especially one that was petrified of even haunts, let alone not even being in the industry. So that's a big deal.
Dude, I don't even build a pro haunt, and I can't find a woman that can deal with what I do in the business.
It's a special
Jeremy's
breed.
already thinking, he's like, yeah, that's not. What's that?
It's a special breed, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, it is for sure. So
it's a fine line between what the fuck and crazy. That's what it is.
Yeah,
and I think all of us collectively would agree with that.
Oh yeah,
because you have to be crazy to do this. The hours and the things that you do and the creativity. You have to be. There's some kind of crazy in there.
Yeah.
It's called passion.
Well, that was one of the obstacles, is because this was our first time going in a building and doing it professionally. That's when we had to, go through the whole city. We had to deal with the fire department.
Yeah.
This is when we were dealing with all the codes. And the thing that hurt us is that our city was very
unfamiliar.
Yeah, very unfamiliar with haunts. So they didn't know what they're looking at. They didn't know what needed to be done. So we got slapped with some weird things that they wanted done that we're like, there's no way in hell we're going to pull this off. Like, cause they wanted us to go through the whole ringer of systems in place to where if there was a fire, it automatically shut down our show lights and sounds, kicked on the emergency lighting, had an automated voice come on, telling people where to go for exiting.
With lights guiding them towards that exit.
It sounds to me like they didn't want you guys to run a haunt.
And actually, they really did want us. They just didn't know what to do with it because they hadn't had anything like that.
So
so the chief just went to the far end and wanted us to meet all these expectations because he thought that's what was going to be best to secure the safety of our patrons that were coming, of our guests and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I get it. As a business person, I get where he was coming from. But until they actually walked through and saw what we were doing, they didn't have an understanding. And so when they finally met us for the walkthrough, then the light bulb kicked on and they were like, oh, okay, we get it now. Yeah. Okay, let's scale it back.
It was a blanket, whatchamacallit? What I'm looking for.
It was like a blanket policy.
There you go. Yeah. That's the word I'm looking for.
Well, it's funny because as soon as the inspectors walked in, they're like, oh, the walls aren't going all the way up to the ceiling? We're like, no. We're like, that's what we're trying to explain, that we have open ceilings between the haunt and the actual physical ceiling of the building.
So the sprinklers can come down and access all of it, and the way that we built it is the sprinklers cut between walls to hit both sides of the haunt, hallways, and luckily for him, I had a lot of business background, so I knew more of the business aspect of it and how to do that and how to navigate it. And he was more of creative build. So together we actually made a pretty good team. And we went in and we set the standard.
He just suckered you in, Ash. Just own that, man.
I know.
He suckered you in.
I know. I know. And here we are all these years later walking down this crazy journey still. But, for us, we set the standard for our area.
Yeah, that became the haunt policy. Basically, is what we were doing, and it was still rough because every year after that, it changed. It was always evolved. There was something new that we needed to do. Right. It's gotten down to the point where it's like we have to turn in a massive binder every year into the city. Basically, we literally have to do a full...
We have a 2-inch binder that goes to the city every year, and it's completely full. And it's our floor plans, it's the materials that we use in there, what type of paints on what walls.
We have to do a written walkthrough. Literally saying, you walk into this room, there's this type of fabric hanging in front of you. As you go through it, then in this room to your right is a bed with sheet material, cotton, bed liner.
You have to list every item, what it's made of, if it's been sprayed with fire retardant, what kind of paint's been used on it, any modifications that have been made to it, and you have to do that for every room. It's not okay, this haunt is 1950s clown diner and this is what we have in it. No, you have to do it room by room, 5 minutes from the entrance or 5 steps from the entrance and 10 steps from the exit is this item, and it's this color, this da 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 da.
Wow.
So I
oh yeah. So it's so crazy to the point that another haunt came and opened up in our town, and so I met with a guy, and he was like talking to me. He's like, man, he's like, what is up with the fire codes for this? He goes, I had to go in there with so much more stuff. He goes, I had to mark out all these different things on my site map. He's like, I've never had to do that before. And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I don't know why it's so strict where we're at, but Sacramento.
In Sacramento, and he runs a bigger, well-known haunt in Sacramento.
Who?
And then he came in and started. I'm sorry.
Who was it?
What are they
John from Cemeterium.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
Jeremy knows.
Yeah. So then he came down and opened up Monsters in Modesto here, right across from us in the mall parking lot. And basically, he walked in and dropped down a 4-inch binder that he takes to Sacramento and says, okay, here's all my policies. Here's everything. You're going to go by this because this is what they do in Sacramento. Not realizing that different counties do it by different ways.
Right.
It's like, sorry, dude, you're not in Sacramento anymore.
Yeah. So once our county got that, thank God we've made a great impression and a great relationship with our fire inspectors. They called us immediately and were like, hey, all the policies are changing and we're going to send you a revised list. We're so sorry. It's so much more work, but this company came in. This is what they brought to our attention. This is what's happening in Sacramento. And now our chief feels like we need to follow some of these guidelines as well, which added at least 72 hours more work for me, paperwork wise, to go in and list all of these items. We had to have copies of receipts for fire retardant. We had to have all these extra permits, all this extra stuff. So what we thought we had pretty good with the small changes that they were giving us every year, the year that they came in, we had huge changes to make. Wow. And it was actually the year that we tore the whole haunt down and revamped it, which was already stressful enough. And then it added that much more on top of it.
Oh, yeah.
So was that guy still operating across from you guys?
No. They had a few violations and a few problems, and they didn't get to open on time, and they moved to in the same county but kind of into another city, so they had to deal with another city inspector. And they're trying to find loopholes to get away with having to do all the things that we now have to do because they set the bar here. Wow. But things that we've done and the compliance that we've made, we've always met with the fire inspectors have wanted us to do, even down to the wire. We've gone above and beyond for them, and because of that, it set the tone for the whole county now. And now home haunts are actually held to the standards that we're held to.
Yeah, they've been going after home haunts in our area and shutting them down.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah, even though they're doing free and everything, like they are still saying it's unsafe.
Because you go in someone's backyard and they have this huge massive tree in their backyard and the roots are coming up over the ground and your patrons are having to step over that in the dark. Well, what if something happens? What if a fire breaks out? What if there's a fight or whatever and your patrons go to run? You now have to hold a $1 million liability insurance policy on top of your homeowner's insurance policy because you're putting people's life at risk.
Right.
Even though they're
in our county, our fire inspector said that basically they're just trying to push it so that more haunts are more legitimized and more of a business instead of running out of their home. Because sometimes they can't control what happens in their homes, and then they don't want people to actually lose their homes because they can't cover the insurance policy for somebody getting hurt in their backyard.
Right.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. But at the same token, what's happening is when that starts to go that route, you start taking away the core and the soul of the haunted industry, because that's where so many people start, and then they work up into bigger and better things.
Hey, real quick, I'm gonna put a pause real quick. We're gonna get cut off in like 9 minutes. If we do, just come back. Just come back in.
Just come back in. All right.
Just come back in.
I gotta step away for a second, guys.
Freaking Zoom.
Freaking Zoom.
Man.
All right. Well, so going back to like more of our history. So yeah, we deal with that now every year with the fire stuff and fighting around that. I mean, it came down to the wire to where we're putting in 3 solid days with no sleep just to get everything finalized before, like, literally we get it down to where they sign us off and then people are coming into the haunt.
Wow.
So
yeah,
it's
like an hour later.
Yeah, so it's like
crazy.
That's when I gained 10 more years off my life, just gone.
Yeah.
But so we had our setup where it was the singular haunt that we basically moved from the backyard into the building, and we were like that until for 5 years.
And that was in that Halloween store building.
Yeah, so we were like that for 5 years. And then coming up to our 10th year is when I wanted to change things up because there's only so much we could do with the singular haunt. And I kind of wanted to give people, because we were finding out people were driving from Sacramento, Bay Area, Bakersfield. We even had a few people from Southern California drive up to come through our haunt, then turn around and go back home.
Yeah, I feel like shit because I still haven't been there.
I'm like, damn. You guys drove all that time to come here for 5 to 10 minute walkthrough, and then you're leaving. Like that's crazy to me because we're so used to going to events and doing multiple things. So that's when I wanted to kind of recreate that situation. So I tore down everything and then just redesigned it all to where we had 4 smaller haunts with a scare zone. And then we were able to start doing our slider show, which was also the birth of our slider crew, Heathen Legion. So then that's when that came in.
Yeah, you beat me to the punch because that was one of the next questions. Okay, so what year? About what year was that, Heathen Legion?
That was 2010. So 2009. No, 2019.
No.
No, 20. Wait.
No. Because I met you guys, I think in 2008. No, I met you in 2018.
And you already had the team.
That's where I got this.
2017 then.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, I was still in Boston.
Yeah. So because we started that, and then of course, I'm never content with just doing one thing. So that's also when Boomers had talked to us about starting up their Halloween event, and so then that's when we started working with them, and we created some scare zones for them and helped run their event out here as well. And that was the first year to kind of be like a starter for it, and then ended up working out so well that they expanded it and added was it like 7 other parks for the Boomers Halloween event?
Yeah, 7 other parks.
Yeah, like 7 other parks. And then at that same time, that's also when we had to travel and go to a few of these parks and train people. And we literally were doing that a day each at each park. So that was fun.
Which is nowhere near enough,
and,
Yeah,
and even then, they didn't even have all the people that were going to be scaring there. Like, it was only like a few of the people who could actually be there. So one of them, there was literally like 2 or 3 people out of the scarers that we were training all day, an 8-hour shift.
And we're talking people that have never done this, people that had no clue about any of this. And it's like we did like auditions just to kind of see where they stood before we did everything. And it would be like, pretend like you're a zombie and then transition into a werewolf. And they would just be like, normal standard like zombie, and then be like, like okay, that doesn't work, like this is what we need. And then we would have to actually show them, and then you would obviously get those one-ups who were just really, really great. But we pioneered that whole thing.
Yeah, there's a few of the places when we left were like, they're in trouble.
Yeah. You just know.
Yeah.
So how did that work when you're trying to get people up to speed for Boomers and you're still trying to get your own haunt up to speed?
That was chaos, man. That was a different level.
Year 1 was a crazy year. year one, we busted tail. We were both working 40-an-hour-a-week jobs. We were doing all these crazy things. We had Haunt Trip on top of that, which we do every year. I mean, and we literally built everything from the ground up for Boomers year one. We built all of their props, hand painted everything, did it all for all 3 of their scare zone areas, did all the character development, put everything together, did the photo shoots, did the commercials, did all the promo material, everything for them. It was insane.
Yeah.
And we're talking on like a $7,000 budget.
Oh wow.
That's not a budget.
Yeah, that's not a budget.
$7,000 budget, and that was for all of your materials, all of our labor, everything. $7,000 across the board.
It's like, well, this is what you're getting for that because we need to be paid.
That doesn't even cover the materials.
Yeah, especially now.
Now they get you a 100 by 100 square foot room,
and that's all you get.
Man.
Right?
Yeah, that's wood was not that expensive back then, at least.
Right.
So,
yeah.
So we made it work, and very minimalized on the way things were because it was a scare zone. So it was just kind of props that were going to be off to the side. Nothing, fully like walls or anything for a haunt. So I was like, we'll be able to pull this off for that price.
And then year 2.
Yeah, so I figured, I'm like, well, hey, if we get this going for them, it might kick off something to where...
You're nuts.
Well, I figured it would open up the door to work at, to create stuff for all their parks and, get contracted in and, kick off this whole thing about building stuff for people. And they ended up going with a different company, even though we're the ones that helped make it work.
Wait. No. So not necessarily a different company. They went with they thought, oh, well now we've run this 1 year and we had 6 successful weeks and we know what the hell we're doing. So we're gonna go to Trans World and we're gonna walk into Trans World and be like, okay, hey, we're haunt people. We know what the hell we're doing. Walked in, went to the first booth, talked to them, contracted. 25 minutes, contracted with them, signed a contract, walked out, went to dinner, and they were in Trans World for less than an hour.
Wow.
And how much did they spend on them, on those people?
$500,000.
And they couldn't give you guys 30,000 even.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So they went in and basically $500,000 went into buying pre-done containers, which had like 2 turns. And some props with some audio equipment, and that was it. They just added to what we already had, and then they had this grand scheme of ideas of what they wanted to do. But when they rethemed things, they didn't think about the stuff that they already had existing. And so the stuff that we built, we literally had to go into and retheme for them to match the rest of the crap that they got.
Wow.
Plus hire and train all their employees for the event.
Yeah.
That's the problem with these companies that do not know anything about the industry. They have money.
Yep.
They do a small part of it. They see a success because people love getting scared. And all they see is like, oh, well, we don't really need to be elaborate. Let's just bring in some, stuff and go with it. As opposed to hiring people that really have a passion for it and that actually have, the skills to make it awesome. They don't look at it that way.
So I know we were talking about Boomers, but let's talk about like when you guys actually audition people for your haunt. Like what do you like? How? Let's give us a little bit of a glimpse on how you do your audition process. I mean, I know half of your group, but,
Yeah, so what we do is basically if you've been with us before, you're a veteran, we know what you're capable of, we just bring you back. But any of the new people, we bring them in, and we've done it differently in the past. This last time, we literally had them come in, they signed all their paperwork and stuff for volunteering and all that, and then we had them go into one of the haunts, into one of the rooms that was like big enough where we had a table set up, and then like me, Ash, and then a few of our other veterans and stuff are sitting there, and we'll basically kind of have them act out stuff similar to what we currently have in our haunt. So we'll ask them for their best demented or evil clown, you know, and have them do that. And then we'll ask for like a doll, you know, thing, or the one that was really getting people's because we did a super zombies maze. It was like superheroes and zombies.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
So that one was fun to ask people to give us your best impression of a zombie with superpowers. Like, they just sat there and gave us the blankest look for a while.
Good.
So, of course, the random people that actually, like, jumped to action and did something, it was like, okay. Like, so you're definitely in there.
That's funny.
But, yeah, a lot of people got stumped by that one.
That's good. So, you need to make Omar do something stupid, and you got to make him audition. Don't let him walk in. I'm just saying.
So he says he wants to be part of the auditioning process.
For what?
Omar.
Oh yeah.
He wants to be part of what?
He's like, do you guys do auditions? Oh my god. He goes, huh?
And he says he wants to be a part of that?
Yeah, he wants to sit there and watch other people audition.
Wow.
I don't know who Omar is, but
he's one of my guys, Jeremy.
Oh, okay.
That moved up there.
Okay, well,
so,
it makes sense why you're giving him a hard time.
Yeah.
Yep.
So okay, now you got now you have your standard talent cast, and then you obviously you got your slider team too, the Legion. So how do you decipher whether or not, okay, these guys are good enough for the team? Is it something where they just come in because you have a certain amount of numbers you want to fill, or do you actually take them through rigmarole like I do down here?
Wait, are you talking about specifically the slider team, or just for the whole?
Yeah, your slider team, Legion, yeah.
For that, we left it open to where if anyone was interested in learning the slide, they're more than welcome to. And then just from there, we would train them, get them to that point, and then depending on if we could tell that they're going to be good enough to handle sliding through crowds of people, then we would let them do it. But
they also have to show dedication.
Yeah.
I mean, I expect more out of him than he does. He is more creative, wants to fill the spot, do the show, and I expect dedication, willing to buy their own stuff, willing to be there, put in the time.
Yeah, that's one of the big parts of the dedication is seeing if they actually even buy all their gear first to want to do it. And that's the thing. It's like I'll tell people, if you want to slide, you got to get your gear, and then if they don't buy it, then it's kind of like, all right, well then you don't really want to do it.
So piggyback on that, do you actually do like a when they agree and they buy, like say they buy their pads, do you guys do like a gathering and make the gloves together and show them how to make the gloves, or do you say, hey, this is how you make gloves, now go make them?
Yeah, we do all that with the sliders and with the monsters within the mazes, the ones that want to do gloves. We tell them, buy your stuff, and we'll show you how to make them. And we usually try to get everyone together for that, so that it's not like
we usually do like a giant pizza party session and hang out and put on a scary movie on the projector at the haunt.
Nice. And
work on making gloves and things like that, so that it's a relaxed environment and they don't feel super pressure, because it's a lot for us to go through individually and show them how to make them fit their fingers and ow, thank you, be nice. He's obsessed with hats. Sorry. And to make it so that it contours their hand the right way and that they're getting the good fitting on their hand, because as we all know, having slider gloves and being through it, if you hit the wrong thing or you catch your finger or whatever,
or wear other people's gloves that weren't meant for your fingers.
Look at Scott's finger.
Yeah, look at Scott's finger.
See, it was so funny you say that, because Scott and I were literally just having that conversation, and I was telling him when I built my smaller gloves, the lighter ones, I called them my performance gloves. I wouldn't do certain sliding techniques, which I call a slap technique, where you slap the floor really hard. I use specific gloves for that, and a couple times I've done it, and I would hit a nerve on my finger, and it would just be jacked for the rest of the night, or like for half of the night. I just wouldn't get any feeling in my finger. So yeah, and you need to specify them to your fingers for sure.
Oh yeah, because that was one of the things when we've had groups be like, oh well, can you guys just train our people a little bit, and just make up some gloves for them? And I'm like, well, if they're making gloves, they have to make their own gloves.
Yeah.
I'm like, you can't just retrofit gloves and just hand them off to people. I'm like, it's not going to work.
Right.
I mean,
you can get jacked up.
You can make the generic the big old fat work the yard gloves, and then put the bigger pieces on there so they're pretty universal. But I mean, even using those, I've had fingers. I mean, I've had this whole finger all the way down my hand just turn completely black and blue, and not be able to bend my finger for weeks. So we just tell everybody it's better if it's accustomed to you and it fits your hand better and it's made to you. Just because that way you also feel like you have better control too. I mean, you guys know when the glove fits your hand and it fits just like a glove the way that it's supposed to, you have more control over what you're doing.
Yeah, 100%. It's always good to know.
And I mean, we've even made gloves for 4-year-olds. Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, we've made gloves for 4-year-olds, so fitting a little tiny hand is a whole lot different than fitting an adult hand. So,
yeah, of course.
Yeah, but they're not going to be slapping things super hard.
I totally forgot that you guys did the boomers thing and how crazy that was for you guys.
Oh yeah. Well, we did Haunt and Boomers one year. The second year of Boomers, we did Haunt and Boomers, and then on top of that, we threw in 2 conventions where we took a traveling haunt with us, did a setup in 2 hours, had a whole walkthrough haunt with 3 to 4 rooms, and tore down in 2 hours and left in a day. Not even a weekend con, like a 1-day con.
That was our carny haunt.
No, you know what? No, sorry, you guys are nuts.
That was. Oh my gosh,
that was brutal.
That was one of the worst experiences.
It was a really big learning lesson. Let me tell you.
To never do it again.
Yeah, we waved it off. I literally had a complete nervous breakdown because I was so tired and we had so much going on, and I had some personal stuff going on at the same time that I literally had a full-on. We were driving back from the con. We had been up for
and it was in Fresno, so it was 2 hours away.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
so we had to drive 2 hours, do 2 hours of setup, run the whole event, and then tear down and then go back, unload the whole truck, and then take the truck to be dropped back off because they needed it the next day, on top of running haunt all weekend.
Oh, wow.
In 2 different locations. So it was bananas. It was the craziest thing we had ever done. And I mean, I literally was sobbing and I couldn't even see. I was crying so hard. And he fell asleep in the truck, and he's pull over. And I was like, if I pull over, it's going to be bad. I have more control right now trying to focus on driving than if I pull over. And he's yelling at me. It was insane. Yeah,
we're never doing that again.
No.
And why
but we did it.
I mean, you into this?
Apparently, I'm stupid or something. I don't know. I think I like a really big challenge, and I like to be challenged, and that's where it came from.
It was more of us trying to expand our brand and get more publicity by, setting up a small haunt as a way to, get people to come from other places and stuff.
Right. But damn, that window, that's ridiculous. 6 hours alone of not even actually working the hunt.
Yeah.
So actually more than that. 2 hours out, set up 2 hours, work the hunt, tear down 2 hours, and then drive back another 2 hours. So that's 8 hours.
Technically, it's 8 hours, yeah. 2 hours there, 2 hours set up, and then we did, it was from 11 till 6 that we ran the con.
Yeah.
And then from 6 to 8, we had tear down, and then from 8 to 10, we had to drive home.
And then we had to unload all the walls and everything at the haunt.
Wow.
Yeah.
So by the time we were fully done, it was like a 12-hour. Well, it was longer than that. It was
You got up so early for that.
We never even went to sleep because we literally...
We had to load up the truck in the morning.
We ran haunt until midnight, loaded everything up until 2. I think we went home, showered, changed, grabbed everything that we needed, went back, jumped in the truck, left at 3, drove down there, got there at 5, jumped in, figured out, met with the con guys to figure out what our spacing was, our electrical, everything. Got a game plan of how we were going to set it up in the space that we had, and had to rearrange their whole con so that everything fit because they didn't plan out properly for what we had.
Right.
And then had to build, get ready, costumes on, makeup, everything, get everything set up, get the table set up with the promo material, the video, all of that, our email sign-up list. And then, boom, con started and we had to go. Like, it was go time.
Yeah, never again.
Yeah. Yeah, never again.
Yeah, that sounds like a nightmare.
The sad part is, though, like, when it came down to people walking through, all the tired and exhaustion just went away.
Oh, yeah.
It was probably one of the best times of our lives. Like,
Yeah, I mean that's just the nature of working an event. You're not tired working the event. You're tired after the event.
So,
well, that was the problem. Is like we were already tired, and then you get that adrenaline to keep you going.
Yep. And
then you tear down everything, and on the drive, you're like done.
Yeah. That's the nature of working a haunted attraction. You work on adrenaline. Because
Yes.
I remember days where I would just be toasted going into the night, and I would just be like, how am I going to survive this? And it just clicks. Like, you get through the whole night, and then afterwards you're like, whoa. I fell asleep. I remember one time I was driving home from working like 6-7 nights in a row. I fell asleep at a light and gotten pulled over because he's like, dude, are you okay? And I'm like, I'm just tired. And he drove me home. So yeah, you run off of pure adrenaline. It's insane.
Yeah, no, it's nice that kicks in right when you need it to.
Yeah, but it can also be dangerous too. That's how you get injured.
Yeah, that was crazy.
So since you guys mentioned makeup and stuff, so what do you guys run? Like, do you run mostly makeup? Is it face paint? Do you run prosthetics? Are you guys running masks? Like, what do you guys run in your haunt?
we run a little bit of everything. We have prosthetics, we have masks, we have makeup.
Yeah, the way we primarily go into everything is because we're volunteer based.
Right.
So the way it works easiest for us is every single spot, like character in a room and all that, I have a costume and mask ready for it. If somebody wants to come in early enough to where they want to get makeup done and do all that, they're more than welcome to. But in the event that they show up, 5 minutes before we're going, it's here, throw this mask on. You don't got time for makeup.
I'm sure that happens often with.
So that's how we go into everything. It happens all the time.
And then we find the volunteers who come in and have all their own gear that go with what we have, or they're dedicated and they buy masks or they pay the money for their own prosthetics, and we just help them to apply them. I mean, we have the wide gamut across the board. And for us, quality is there. We put a lot of detail in, but with our lighting and stuff, for the most part, we get away. We do a pretty good job. You know what I mean? Like, it's and we always modify every mask, so it's not just a store-bought mask that you can go see. Mm-hmm. We've always upgraded it, repainted it, touched it up, added stuff to it, just to make it different, so it doesn't look like just something that came off the shelf as well.
Right.
Which is good.
Yeah. So okay, you got all your talent, John. I know you have your own character now. Is that one you run every night, or do you sometimes not run your character in the attraction when you guys are open? Like, you turn into Manager John instead of Scary Guy John.
I say, do Do I break character and turn into manager, John?
No, how often
do you run your character every night, or there's some nights you're like, okay, I'm not going to play talent tonight?
Yeah, you guys keep cutting out. I keep missing what you're saying.
Do you play? Do you actually go out as talent every night for the haunt, or some nights do you say, I'm not dressing, I'm going to manage?
So there's probably only been about 1 or 2 nights where I haven't been in costume.
So basically what you're saying is, again, Ashley's got to be managing.
Yep.
She's going like this in the background.
Who gets to be the bad guy? Me.
Someone
again,
has to.
Like I said, well, yeah, but I also have more business background. So when it comes to like, any of our people for media that come that want to do walkthroughs and things like that, they meet with us together first, and then they deal with me initially. They deal with me pretty much strictly. I'm the one that deals with our security. Yeah. And then it's like when Haunt's running, if something breaks down, thank God I know how to use a tool, because, if a wall falls or something falls down, I have to jump in there with the hammer, the screwdriver, or whatever, go fix it, rip it off the wall, and move forward. So I'm a handyman, a manager. I do it all.
In his defense, Ash, he's too short to reach the top of the wall.
Yeah, I mean, you're right.
I mean, yeah, I don't have to go get the ladder.
I would have to get the ladder. She doesn't.
Scott,
like,
you're,
okay, got it.
Scott, you're in no place to talk about short people.
Dude, he's shorter than I am.
Doesn't matter. You're still not average height.
It's funny, though, because the times when I was like, you know what, I'm not going to scare. I'm actually going to help try to run this or something. It never fails. It's like, oh, no, we don't have enough people to scare tonight or something. Then I'm like, all right. So then I have to go throw on one of the masks and costumes. And
he's like, no, don't worry. I'm going to help run it tonight. You can have a break. You don't need to work so hard. And then 10 minutes later, he's like running past me going, we didn't have a scare. I'm in costume. I got to go. You're taking over the whole show. And I'm like, well, good thing I showed up tonight, because I thought I was going to have a night off.
You're like, I was going to stay home with the kid.
I mean, before we had a kid, it was like, I'm going to go out with my girlfriends and go enjoy my Halloween. But,
You don't get to enjoy Halloween
anymore. It's funny, because it was nice to hear, like, there was one year where, like, because I've always been, like, more towards the front, so that way she can kind of run the back, so then I kind of have eyes towards the front.
Yeah.
And one of those times where I'm like, oh, I'll go somewhere else. I'll just try to run it. And then we were losing a key character, so then I jumped into that spot, and then I was doing that role, and then during one of the breaks, like, some of the other actors in that area were like, hey, they're like, I don't know what it is, but having you in here, it's like they all just like feel more amped up and like more energetic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I figured I'd ask that because it's the two of you, right? And then you go into character. So Ashley's in I got to keep an eye on shit mode, and you're out there playing. So is there anybody else that like kind of steps into your role as manager to help Ashley out when you're actually talent?
No.
No, I mean, don't get me wrong. Our families are really highly involved.
Yeah.
Like his mom and my mom will work the front to check people in, and his mom's best friend comes and helps. And, they dress up. They have a whole lot of fun with it, and they hand out candy and talk to all the kids and everything. Mm-hmm. So they have really good eyes on the front, and then they have walkies. If they need me, they call me. I go up there. We have fire protection who stands at the emergency exit so that if anything happens, they're the first ones to notify everybody. They're in a place where they can direct traffic, grab a fire extinguisher. Yeah. They know where all the fire extinguishers are. And then we have our shadows, and a lot of our shadows are like in hallways, emergency exits, things like that. So I have a little bit of help because I can run up to a hallway and say, okay, are we good? Do you guys need anything? Or they'll come running to me when I'm on dealing with something else and go, hey, a transition curtain fell down. They grabbed it and it got torn. We need to put it back up. And so then I run and grab tools and run over there and we halt the haunt for a minute, and then I fix it, and then we go right back into cycle again.
Okay. Well, at least you guys
try not to. Yeah, we have a lot of people
actually,
in place.
And it helped with the new setup that we did because I was in the scare zone, so that allowed me to be able to roam and actually keep an eye on everything and be actually, walking around. In the past, I've always been stuck in a room staring. So when something would go wrong, there were times I didn't even know about it. And I'd find out after it all happened. She would come into the room and be like, so this happened. And I'm like, oh.
But let's talk about how when he's in character, it's really hard for him to break character. He's committed. So he'll come up and talk to me as his slider character, Bernie, trying to tell me something, and he's like, and I'm like, can you talk to me like a normal human being? And he's like, yeah, and then he's off running, or he's staring at somebody trying to talk to me, and he can't do multiple things at once. So he's like, da-da-da-da-da, something's broken, and then he sees somebody, and he's gonna go run and slide at them, and then I have to go catch him to figure out what the hell's wrong.
Oh my god!
So
you married him. You married him.
I know. I mean, come on, Scott, you were there. He on our honeymoon, he came to slider practice.
Yep.
True.
Like, he came to boot camp on our honeymoon.
I had nothing to do with that, so.
Yeah.
No, you guys said you wanted to have some kind of practice when you came to town. I'm like, okay.
Well, you already happened to have boot camp running because it was for.
That's right.
All those new sliders.
Yep. Yeah.
So, you guys, let's talk about...
But I knew what I was getting into when I married him.
Let's talk about this year. What are you guys planning on this year? Anything new? New theme? What are you guys doing this year?
Yeah, because I don't like to leave things alone. I have to constantly, tweak it. So, going into this year, I wanted to, of course, I definitely wanted to add a new theme to one of the haunts just because they've been the same for a while now. And so I wanted to change just to keep things fresh and new. So just for one of them that have been around, actually the one that I'm redoing, the rooms that are currently in there that I just removed were rooms that we still had in the backyard from our last home haunt.
Wow.
So
they've been out back there for years.
Yeah, so they've been around for a long time, and so then I put them together for the Scary Tale maze that we had that I now just took down. So now we're going to do a Halloween-themed maze called All Hallows Eve.
Oh, nice.
And so I wanted to base it on like an old classic Halloween story and have it take place in a time era, so we kind of settled on like the 40s. And when I was like looking up a lot of stuff for it, I started deep diving into some of the like old radio shows that they would have from the 40s. And so from there, I started just kind of growing this idea to the point to where now the theme's kind of taken over the whole haunt. So instead of before how we just had individually themed haunts and then that was it, I'm incorporating everything together, so as you go through each maze, it's going to kind of tell a story.
Gotcha. So there's one general theme that encompasses your entire event.
Yeah, because originally we had the different mazes and people could just choose which one to hit as they wanted to. Yeah. But then because of COVID, we were looking at guidelines that we're going to have to follow.
For one directional.
And so we figured if we could turn it into a one direction singular walkthrough, but you're going through the multiple mazes.
Right.
And so doing that, I'm like, well, it'd be kind of cool to tell like a story. So then it's not just boom, 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 So what I decided to do is have it all take place in this town called Higbee Hollow. And
shocker.
So we're creating a 1940s radio show that you're going to hear throughout the whole thing playing in this town. So from when you walk in each maze, you'll hear part of that show. And it's all going to lead up to going to the barn where they're having the Halloween party, which is going to be the new maze that we're doing. So you're going to go in there and we're going to have classic skeleton in ghosts and stuff like that. And what it is because we have Boomtown, which is our scare zone. and a witch from there went into the Halloween party and basically started transforming the people into the monsters that they're portraying. And so then they're starting to kill some of the other counselors.
Familiar to me.
Just a little bit?
Yeah, just a little bit.
It's all right. Taking from inspiration.
So, yep. And so then you're going to go from the barn and all that into our final maze, which was the Super Zombies one, but now we're changing that with a slight makeover, and I'm going to have that be the old radio station. So you're going to go into the radio station that you've been hearing this whole radio show playing, and then zombies are going to start attacking and everything. Oh, wow. So that's going to be the finale from there.
So what are your estimated dates of operation this year?
It's going to be the last 3 weekends of October, the last Fridays and Saturdays.
Of course. Now you wonder why I've never been out there, because it's just not possible for me to get there.
Right? Yep.
I'm telling you, man.
It was funny. Scott and I were talking about, we were planning on going. Meaning my wife and I and whoever else wants to join, will be attending. But Scott had brought it up. He's like, dude, we got to go to Higbee this year because he, wasn't sure what was happening with his season. And, lo and behold, he can't do anything.
Yeah. Well, see, too, this is what I was telling him one time, too. I was telling him, I go, dude, I should fly up to your place and then we should drive down to Modesto and surprise him. And I'll text him. It's like, hey, how's the haunt going? And then I'm like, why don't you come out front? We're standing out here, that type of thing. But it's just not going to happen now.
As they're like, oh, we don't have time to talk to you guys. We're too busy.
Yeah.
Probably how it would have been.
we know how that goes.
Yeah. Well, and for me this year, it's going to be an interesting adventure because now we have our little one, which we haven't had before.
Yeah.
So
I wanted to get a baby Bjorn and just strap him on me and put him in some makeup.
He wanted me to carry the baby around the entire night.
Yeah.
Guess what, John? Looks like you got to be in manager mode.
Nah, we have babysitters. We have parents and grandparents that'll watch him.
That's good.
And leave those alone.
I thought if you strapped him my back like Yoda, it would have been kind of cool, and dress him up like a little demon goblin or something.
A little baby.
He's just waiting for Christmas haunt so he can dress up as Krampus and put the baby in his basket.
Nice.
Dude, yeah. That'll be awesome. So okay.
But leave it to our kid to be running around already, our haunt, when we go to slider practice and running into the maze and walking through it and us jumping out at him and he's not even phased.
He laughs.
Oh, how funny.
Well, he's definitely going to be a haunt kid. Well, he's already a haunt kid, but he's going to...
Yeah.
So what is... Okay, so...
his favorite movie is Monsters University. So.
Nice.
Okay. So when you guys are open, what's going to be the ticket price for your haunt?
That we're still trying to figure out. We're kind of still waiting a little bit more now with this Delta variant to see what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Right.
To see if that's going to reduce our capacity to the point to where we're literally going to only have to let one group into each of the mazes at a time.
Yeah.
Or not. We're already going to be set up on time frames anyways. We're going to set up our ticketing system online and only have reservation times for people. So now it's just going to depend on how many reservations we can fill.
Gotcha.
And that'll depend on price, because we can only throw in, 100 people a night or something, then we're going to have to charge quite a bit more.
Right.
Yeah, and that's going to suck.
Yeah, because then it's like, at that point, it's like, who's going to pay it? Yeah.
So,
but we're also lucky that if we do get to open, we are one of the places. There's not very many places out here that are planning on doing something. Mm-hmm. So we will probably get hit very hard because some of the bigger places around us are too afraid to put the effort in and to have the loss like they did years before.
Yeah.
So, we don't have much competition coming up this year. A lot of places up here are choosing to not do stuff to be safe and whatnot.
Right. So there's a chance you guys might get an influx of people.
Yeah, well, we had calls all last October, literally from the end of September till the third weekend of November. We had calls, probably 250, 300 calls a day. Are you open? How much are you charging? $50, we'll be there. And it's like, no, we can't open. COVID. Yeah. Sorry, bud. What do you mean? It's whatever the ticket is, we'll pay it. Let's go. And it's like, sorry, we don't want to lose our business license because the county was threatening to take away people's business licenses. So,
well, especially because we're an indoor venue, that really didn't help us for all that.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're still kind of waiting to see what some of the guidelines are going to be too.
Yeah. Well, at this point, I mean, say if something happens where you guys can't open, hey, guess what? You got more time to come down here and go to haunts.
Exactly.
We're still doing a haunt trip. Don't let them fool you.
Yeah.
No, I know.
I think we're coming down the 8th.
Yeah, like
8th and 9th.
That weekend?
Of October?
Yeah.
Well,
it's a little later than
Dark Harbor because it's not running.
Yeah, I know. We're pretty stacked.
We're planning on doing Hayride, Knott's, and then we're juggling between HHN and Six Flags.
I plan to hit up Six Flags this year too.
Just because HHN's lineup, I mean, no offense to anyone, but it does not. For somebody who's been going since 2007, it's not very appealing.
Yeah,
it's HHN's a sore subject. Let's not go there.
Yeah, it's a sore subject for Jeremy. So
it's a sore subject for you. Don't blame that on me.
Can we talk about all of the black walls?
You guys can talk all you want. It's not me.
Yeah, we're not gonna talk about it.
Yeah. So let's fast forward to what you can tell us about, like, what are your future plans for Higbee? Like, do you guys have stuff already lined up for like the next 3, 5, 10 years of your haunt?
I mean, I have ideas for things that I definitely want to do, like different themes that I want to use for walkthroughs and stuff. But as far as location, I mean, that's always up in the air just because we are dealing with a place that could be gone. Just because we rent it for just the haunt, October season.
Right.
Somebody else may come in and just take it, and then we're out of the building. So we're always kind of on the lookout for somewhere else that we might possibly, lay our roots down.
Well, we're also looking at, in the next year, buying a house. And if we can, we're going to look into buying maybe something with some property and using it as a business write-off. That way we can just put it in our backyard basically again, or on our property again. Because, I mean, we work so well with our fire inspectors here that I could call her right now and be like, hey, I need to see you this week and we need to do a walkthrough on this land. And I need to know everything that I can and can't do that you guys will sign off on. And they'll come out and do it with us. They'll spend the time with us.
Yeah.
They won't do that with many other haunts in the area. So we're pretty lucky with that. So we're definitely looking into either buying a house with some land or buying a house that already has like a huge barn on the property that we can convert. Or maybe even looking into leasing out a commercial building. There's a lot in the air right now that we're trying to move forward with. We definitely want to grow and become bigger and more stable and permanent in this area, because in our area there's not really anything of that caliber here. You either have to go all the way up to Sacramento or the Bay Area, or you have to drive down south. And we're in the middle of California, and we should be able to hit that market.
Yeah, anybody that doesn't want to drive, I mean, because the closest thing to you is Great America, right? And that's 2 hours away, hour away?
Them. I mean, there's some in like the San Leandro area, and again, Sacramento is about an hour and a half, drive. So, that's probably the closest, like, bigger stuff to us. Otherwise, I mean, there's quite a few, like, farm haunts and stuff like that out here because we are in the Central Valley.
More corn maze type
corn mazes and stuff like that, and we visited quite a few of them, and they're really cool. We've made some good connections with some of them.
Yeah.
So, but it's not quite what we're doing, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we're a completely different breed on what we're doing. So
they're ultimately still considered a home haunt. You guys are on the pro level now.
Yeah.
So,
He definitely wants to develop It's either go big and go bigger and be what we want to be, or eventually maybe work for a bigger industry and go and do what he likes for them. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Idealistically, his goal would be to take John Murdy's job.
That's funny.
So, you know, and for me, I'm along for the ride. It's whatever he wants. I'm here to support and do what I can within my means, while having our families and our normal 40-hour-a-week jobs and, you know, life. So
ultimate goal is to be able to do it full time and without having a regular day job. You know.
Yeah, that would be fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's tough.
I mean,
yeah.
When we buy our house, even if we don't have property, we're definitely looking into a house that's big enough to where we can have some space to turn, you know, like buy a three-car garage and turn one of the spaces into a monster garage so that we can start making and selling props and
workshop,
you know, hitting some of that specialty stuff that some of those places maybe miss, or, you know, getting more of a niche market in there.
Yeah.
So you know,
what type of building are you in now?
We are. It was an old Ross, and it's a 33,000 square foot building.
Okay.
And so we have about
9,000 of it total.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so you have a large portion of it, not all of it.
Yeah, we have a chunk. We have about a third, if not a quarter.
And you guys only lease that for a few months in the October season?
Well, we're in there technically all year. We have the building, and we have our stuff set up all year. And
so even if you can't come through Halloween and see the actual full experience, you guys are always more than welcome to come and do a walkthrough.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's probably going to end up being more what my schedule allows. Yeah. I mean,
and then there's always our holiday haunt that we do as well.
Christmas,
and then if we can and we can pull it off with permits and stuff, we always try to do like a Friday the 13th haunt, or sometimes we've done like an 80s throwback haunt where it was all 80s music and stuff like that. So, you know, we try to utilize it the best we can. We have even talked about transitioning and maybe in off season doing like escape rooms so that we're making money in the off season in the building, because you can change them with your themes and make them what they need to be.
Yeah.
So we've even done some consulting with some local escape rooms on what they already have and what we can do to help them make it better, prop-wise and stuff like that. So, I mean, we're definitely working and putting in the grind to grow our business and, expand Higbee Productions, because it's not just the haunt and it's not just sliding. There's so much more to it. We 2 years ago, we did our first charity event, which was Higbee Scares to Be Aware for Autism. Nice. And we did no lights on, no scare, where the kids got to come in and put costumes on and scare us.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Autistic children, things like that. They got to do walkthroughs without being scared or having loud noises.
Yeah, we didn't have any of the music going on. All the actors, we didn't have any like our makeup on. It was like, some of the actors would have the masks, and if a kid was, reacting at all, they could just lift it up and show them that, it's a normal person underneath.
Skin. Skin.
So.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was really cool. We had like sensory bins and food and music, and all the money that we raised went back to local teachers for their special education classrooms to help them get supplies for the kids so that they can have better learning environments around here. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of people don't realize that most teachers in a lot of counties pay out of pocket for the needs for the stuff that they need for their classrooms, because they get the same $250 allotment that every other teacher gets. Right. And when you're dealing with high functioning autism or other kids with special needs, $250 doesn't even touch the market for you.
Yeah.
And you want to give them quality learning, so why not give back? You know what I mean? I mean, we had numerous parents come up to us and go, we love your event. We come every year, but we can't bring our kid because our kid's autistic and they can't enjoy it. And we want them to enjoy it because they love Halloween so much. Yeah. And I sat and talked with one family for like 2.5 hours. I actually ran into them at my job, and they were telling us all about it, and it just sparked inspiration, and we ran with it. So we, created a whole separate daytime event, and we did that, and we're hoping to continue it. Probably not this year with COVID going on, just because of the type of event that it is.
Yeah.
But hopefully next year, and we're hoping to grow it and get more involved. We did some trunk or treating with it and things like that, so that the kids could have something that they could be involved in and enjoy as much as we do.
We also do some stuff with some independent filmmakers, as far as like doing some settings and some monsters and stuff like that. So that's been really cool as well.
Yeah.
See, I knew you guys have dabbled in a lot of other things besides.
So, like I said, we're ever evolving and ever growing, and just trying to be the best that we can to push our business and our brand.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are talking about all the other things you've gotten into, and I'm so glad you touched on that, because the stuff that I knew you guys were into, it doesn't even scratch the surface of everything that you've gone into.
I think they've heard.
Okay, I just want to make sure. I knew you guys did things outside of just the haunt. But the fact that once I said future and you guys really started going into the other things you do, that's huge. I'd love to hear about that, because you guys aren't just doing, hey, we just want to do a haunt. You're trying to help the community too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's really awesome. Mm-hmm. And the fact that you're going to stay there, you're not going to relocate to another city or state. You want to stay there and help your community grow, and that's where you guys are at.
Right.
Which is awesome. So, but yeah, that's all the questions we had for you guys. I mean, it's always super good to talk to you guys. I mean, obviously we don't talk a whole lot, but it's good to see your faces too. But why don't you guys give us a plug for your social medias, and we see if we can get you guys some more followers when this does get posted, because we haven't even started posting podcasts yet.
Yeah, for sure. You can find us at Higbee Horror Haunt on Instagram, Facebook, Higbee Horror Haunt. So yeah, those are the two primary things that we post stuff on.
This guy's been posting haunt updates on TikTok, so it's at phenom_the_slider. We all have slider profiles as well.
Okay, you guys might want to spell phenom, because I know he spells a little bit different.
Well,
right?
we can. I'll get it from them and I'll put it on the screen as well.
Oh yeah, there you go. Awesome. You got to do all the afterload stuff. So.
Yeah, he's been trying to do some TikTok and hit the marketing that way, because it's really popular. So, Scott, you might get some ideas and start getting on the TikTok for the youngers.
Yeah.
A lot of businesses are recruiting from TikTok now, too.
I know. Like we can talk about my business at another time. This is about you guys. It's 100% about you guys. So, but you guys, it was great. Thanks for coming on. I know you guys were kind of wrapped up, a little bit busy earlier today, but it's always great to talk to you guys, and we appreciate you being able to kind of discuss what you have up and coming and what you've actually been into.
Yeah, true.
Thanks for having us.
Little guy. Oh, of course. Anytime. You guys I'm always a phone call away if you guys ever need anything.
Definitely. We'll be in your neck of the woods here pretty soon, so we'll have to meet up.
Exactly. All right, guys. Well, thank you for being a part of the podcast, and we'll see you guys this season.
Yeah, sure. Sounds great. Can't wait to see you guys.
Yeah.
And make sure you follow Jeremy and I's social medias as well. Thank you all the viewers for watching. Jon Ashlei, great to speak with you again. We'll talk soon.
Definitely.
All right,
bye,
guys.
Walter.